Well, hello everyone. Welcome to It's All About Arts. I am your host for this lovely but rainy evening, Valerie Eliason. I'm coming to you live from our studios here at BNN-TV. You're always welcome to join us if you'd like, or if you just want to watch us, that's fine too. You can call in at 617-708-3290. Dave and the awesome staff of BNN are in the other room answering the phones and working all the behind-the-scene magic that you folks in the audience don't necessarily get to see. They make It's All About Arts possible, and they make the show amazing. So please, if you would like to call in, let us know of any artful things that are going on in your life or your community, or just to say hi, please feel free to do so. As you may have noticed, I am sitting at this gigantic desk all by myself tonight. Our host and dear friend Glenn Williams isn't with us today. Unfortunately, he is at a meeting. As you may or may not know, he is a part of the WGBH Community Advisory Board. So at this very moment, he's working all of his artful magic, and hopefully we'll hear about all the great things that he contributed to the meeting when he returns. So as for tonight, we have a great show in store for you. We have a few awesome guests. We have Cynthia and Don Simmons from the Boston Center for the Arts, and we have Dave Tree from Sweet Tree Inc. and House of Ill. But before we get to that, I wanted to take the chance to sort of recap the past year, recap 2014. I was lucky enough to see a ton of exhibits this year from a wide variety of amazing and talented artists. I got to go to open studios, gallery openings, sculpture parks, orchestras, you name it. I was lucky enough to get to go see all of them. So there are hundreds and hundreds of paintings and shows and music that I loved and adored and would love to share with all of you, but I would need a lot longer than an hour to share that with you. So I've selected 5 works that I wanted to share as my 2014 favorites, and so let's get started. So for work number 1, this is a piece by Adam O'Day. Adam does a lot of pieces with cities, various cities, most commonly Boston. However, this photo in particular is my favorite because of its viewpoint. So at my last apartment, I would sneak up onto the roof. I didn't necessarily have roof access, but I liked sneaking up there a lot anyways, and it would be almost identical to this view. You'd see the tops of all these buildings, and it would just stretch out as far as the eye could see, and it was so peaceful up there, especially on a windy day. It was really enjoyable. He's actually going to be a guest on our show in a couple months, so you'll definitely have to tune in to see that one. So next is, this piece is by Ryan Lombardi, also known as Enamel Kingdom. I love this piece because elephants are one of my absolute favorite animals, and I love the gold-tipped tusks. My roommate actually bought the white version of this one, and it's hanging in our apartment, so really awesome. I love the wrinkles in his trunks, and it's great to see artists use unconventional canvases as canvases. This one's actually a speed limit sign, which is really cool. So third is a piece by Caleb Nealon and Kenji Nakayama. So this was a video, unfortunately. We just have a still shot of it that was going on during the Boston Illuminous Festival. So it was a really awesome, very psychedelic, the way the lights twirled and the spirals were moving across the building. It was amazing. It was just an awesome festival overall. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that they do it again next year. Fourth is a piece by Percy Fortini Wright. So this was a piece that I got to see at a gallery opening this past year. It was a gorgeous piece. It's spray paint on panel canvas. I love the unique color choice for the skin and how it's glowing and highlighted. It's almost kind of haunting and eerie a little bit, but it's such a wonderful piece. And last but not least is a piece by Jordan Eagles. So this was an exhibit at the Mills Gallery. It was one of the most unique and unconventional exhibits that I've probably ever seen. The medium was epoxy resin and cattle blood. So Eagles likes to explore the ties between life and death. This exhibit was pretty eerie but beautiful, and the vibrant reds that the blood created and the way they shone the light through the plexiglass and the resin was just amazing. So I hope you enjoy these pieces as much as I did. I really look forward to seeing the art that 2015 brings. I also look forward to seeing the great work that Boston Main Streets does around the city. Boston Main Streets is a volunteer-driven organization that revitalizes the business districts around the city. They've been at it for a couple decades now, so they're pretty good at what they do, and they've made some astonishing progress. So what Main Streets does is it gives the business and property owners demographic information about what their particular community needs. Maybe they need a cheese shop, maybe they need a great place to buy treats for their dog. Maybe they need a good coffee spot. So they go into the area and they help figure out, what does this neighborhood need or what does this community need? And it helps the business once they're moved into the storefront with like all the permitting and all of that paperwork, and they help them get started. And after they're in there, they help put on these great events. So a great example of this is the Rosendale Farmers Market. That's an event that's run by Boston Main Street. So they do a lot of work. That's really amazing. It's all volunteer driven. So like Glenn likes to say, if you see someone in a Boston Main Streets t-shirt, definitely say thank you to them for him and I. Though it probably will be a Boston Main Streets hoodie right now, or maybe a Boston Main Streets umbrella because it's pouring outside. But it's a great committee. People really get involved in it, and it's wonderful to see communities develop and pride that people have for their neighborhoods. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, I'm going to have a little quick Val's View segment for you. And we're also going to see our first guest. So stay with us. Don't go anywhere. Enjoy this quick little musical break. And we'll see you guys in a couple minutes. Well, welcome back, everyone. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do the same magic trick that I did last time I did a solo show. Our green screen seems to be malfunctioning a little bit, but I did not want to deprive you of a Val's view. So I have 3 awesome things that are going on in the city coming up. First off, Jamie O'Neill is having a solo show January 16th at Lot F Gallery in Boston. It opens up at 7, goes to 11, sometimes usually a little later. There's always wine and snacks. Awesome music. So Jamie O'Neill has maintained a solid presence in the Boston community for over a decade. His paintings are composed in a hyper-realistic style and portray the expanding world around him. He has pieces of serene nautical landscapes, dingy graffiti, painted sides of trains, the tops of spray paint cans. His work is amazing. It's really, really great. So definitely make sure to check it out. It is a free gallery opening, so no excuses there. Second on our list, we have the Sketchbook Show. Now that's going on right now, actually. It started January 7th. It's going on to the 31st. So that's going on at the Nave Gallery in Somerville. Artists use sketchbooks for so many different reasons, aside from sketching. They use them to jot down ideas. Maybe they don't need a piece of paper to write down their grocery list, a dream journal, you name it. They use it for so many things. And I feel like it's something that's always kept very secret and intimate. But this show opens that up and it explores the artist's sketchbook. So now that's going on at the Nave Gallery again. Definitely an awesome place to check out. They've embraced the idea of the sketchbook, and yeah, it'll be there for the whole month of January. So definitely check out the website because their hours do vary from day to day. So. Third on our list, we have Bob Marley's 70th birthday celebration. So that's going on February 5th at 8 p.m. at the Berkeley Performance Center. So this February, the late Bob Marley would have been turning 70. So although he passed away in 1981, his face still stands to be the face of reggae music. So on the 5th, join Assistant Professor Matt Jensen's Berkeley Bob Marley Ensemble and his original reggae band, the Liquid Revolution. These two 12-piece powerhouse bands will be bringing the spirit of Brother Bob directly into your hearts and souls and challenge your minds with Marley-inspired music that takes a deep look at socio-political issues. So if you're a reggae fan like I am, go down there and check it out. It's right in the heart of Boston. So that was our little Val's View for the day. It's always a pleasure for me to bring to you some of the events that are going on in the city. But now, without further ado, we have an incredible guest here today, Dave Tree. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me over, Val.
I'm sorry it was so last minute, but I mean, your stuff is awesome. You know, I did a lot of schmoozing around on your Facebook page and through the internet, and you have just dabbled in everything from music to screen printing to manufacturing cool T-shirts. I mean, you've been around forever. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Let's see. I was born in Boston. I grew up in the suburbs in Westwood, Mass. I started still screening seriously in 1982. I went to museum school of fine arts in '90 after going to Framingham State College.
I went to Framingham State College.
I went there when it was still FSC. Me too.
Now it's Framingham State University.
Yeah. Ooh. 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 So then I went to the museum school, and then I started a band called Tree, and I toured like in 1988, and I ended up touring the country in a van with my friends that I grew up with for 13 years. Got on the Rosie O'Donnell show, got on WBCN, got in a couple movies with like Chad Lowe and Norman Reedus. We're in a movie with him.
That's incredible.
Called Floating. Yeah, we got a lot of opportunities happen when you do stuff and you're flexible and you get a phone call and you're like, can you show up on a TV show tomorrow? And I'll be like,
Sure.
And here I am.
Yeah, I think when we were talking yesterday, you said the Middle East called you up and was like, hey, can you come hang a show? And you were down there, what, in 24 hours?
Well, I was down there 48 hours, but I was hanging in art at the Out of the Blue Gallery, which is a new gallery in Central Square.
Okay.
You should check out.
Oh, definitely.
It has lots of art there, and it also has a live stage.
Awesome.
So they do poetry, like Stone Soup does their stuff there every Monday night.
Oh, cool.
So they do a lot of stuff. They used to be on Prospect in a small place, and now they have a big space. So I was there hanging stuff, and they're like, the person that was going to hang stuff in the Middle East fell through. Can you do it? And I did. I did it.
That's awesome.
You know? That was Friday. So like a hung show there, and then Friday I practiced with these guys in Dorchester that I started playing again music. We wrote a song. Then I hung the art on Sunday, and as I was hanging the art on Sunday, I met Chestnut, a guy that works at the Middle East, who used to just do the door, and now he's booking shows. So I got a show in April for a band that I don't even have a name for yet, but we have songs. So
that's awesome.
helps.
You live in the dream. It sounds like you have such an incredible life in all the arts.
You know what? I would encourage everybody to live the dream.
Yeah.
You know, the dream is there to live. Stay busy and do what you want to do, and don't be afraid of
taking risks.
Don't be afraid. You have to take risks, and you have to take gambles, and don't be afraid of making mistakes. Because, like we were just talking a second ago, like if you want to paint a painting, sometimes you see an image in your head and you paint it, and it doesn't come out perfect the first time, so then you redo it, and it comes out perfect the second time.
Yeah.
But then when you look at the two pieces, you're like, wait, the mistake's better.
Yeah.
You know. So then sometimes like the mistakes are okay, and it's okay to fail. What's not okay is not to try. So you gotta get out there and try. And there's nothing worse than like seeing an opportunity, letting it go, and then going down. A month later, a year later, a lifetime later, you're like, what was I thinking? Why did I let that go?
Yeah.
So it's like what is it? Thoreau was saying like, I don't want to find when I lay down to die that I have not yet lived. So do it like that. Do it like that.
Do it like Thoreau, yeah. So your pieces at the Middle East are these incredible guitar cases with these skeletons on them. I love
they're
those.
like these medieval-looking skeletons. Well, I lifted a lot of the material from, appropriated a lot of the material from some early tarot cards and like some like Dura prints.
Yeah.
And projected them onto old guitar cases and then painted them in with a black and white, just like black and white color tone, and I got a whole series of them. And then from that, I started painting on actual old guitars, so now I have a whole series of that.
That's awesome. What do you use to paint on the guitars? Because I imagine the surface must be tricky to get.
What it is, I use a lot of acrylics, but then
Okay.
like you seal them in with varnishes
Gotcha.
and shellacs and other stuff, and or sometimes you go right over the. Sometimes I paint over my acrylic with oil.
Okay.
So I get the basic idea down with the
Interesting.
acrylic, and then you go over with the oil, and then the oil is just like you can blend the oil. It's like, and the blacks are so black, and
Yeah, that's awesome.
it's just one of the tricks. There's a lot of tricks.
There are so many tricks. One of the best tricks I learned actually is with, if you ever work with epoxy or resin, sometimes you get little bubbles in it after you mix it up. If you take a straw or a torch. I never tried that.
Torch works.
Gotta try that
The
though.
best.
Wish
I
had
was
a
using.
torch.
I tried the hairdryer. The hairdryer works too, but the torch is the way to go. Just don't.
And it's a torch, and it looks
Yeah,
cooler,
you just kind of go
probably.
over it,
Yeah.
like.
Shoot it down. Nice. Tell us about your music. Like, what type of music do you play?
Well, I grew up listening to a lot of Irish music when I was a little kid. And then when I turned about like 12, 13, I really got into like the punk rock scene in Boston. And that was probably like 1980, 81. So
I feel like there must have been a huge punk rock scene then.
it was great. And it was already a kind of established scene going, but it was very underground. And so I got exposed to it just through like my friends' older brothers, because I didn't have any older brothers. And then when I had a chance to like actually start my own band, I wasn't thinking punk rock or hardcore or metal or any kind of category. I just wanted to be in a good band that
Yeah.
sounded good and
Make
that was
some good
intense
music.
and that meant something. And then that's what so that's what it ended up sounding like.
The rest is
for me,
history. Awesome.
So it goes along with the Irish music too. It's like Irish music, right? Irish music makes you like laugh and cry and sing and
Yep.
dance. It's all about the rebels,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the loss, and and then Punk rock, same thing. Same thing.
Nice.
Stiff little fingers.
Tell us.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. You go ahead.
Well, like, punk rock is just really an extension of rock and roll in its original format, and it's just a way of reinventing something that's already happened. And a lot of art is involved in like music, and punk rock is definitely influenced by the Dada movement. So that was like it's kind of a cool like a little tidbit there. Tidbit of information.
Got a little fun trivia question.
Yeah, well, it's also like challenging what is art, what is music, what is like what should be like on the wall, and what shouldn't be on the wall.
Yeah.
And what should be, why is this not on the radio, and why is this constantly on the radio?
I feel your pain on that one. There's way too much stuff on the radio that should not be on the radio.
I DJ'd at WBCN back in like 2003, 2004. They had a competition where I was like, you can be a DJ and for BCN. So I tried out and I lost to Adam 12. Adam 12. But I also won because they gave me a job to do the overnights. And
nice.
So I'm doing overnights. All right, so this is how BCN, like, all right, Dave Tree, you're in charge of the overnights. And then I'm in this building with 50,000 watts of pure rock and roll freedom. But I have to play everything that's formatted. Like, everything's there's a format. Like, this is like, yeah, play this song this time. All these songs I had to play. It was like a Pearl Jam weekend, and I'd have to be excited, you know?
They don't let you pick?
No, you can't. Like, all right, so anyone who's listening to, like, to my voice, if you call in any radio station and ask for like them to play a song for you, they will not play that song for you. Absolutely not. The only time they'll ever play that song for you if that's what they were going to play already.
No kidding. All right.
Yeah, that's why they put that person on. Like, hey, what do you want to hear? I want to hear Pearl Jam. Yeah. Again. You know.
They've had that little sound clip saved for a month.
Yeah. Well, then they put that guy on the air. Like, hey man, what are you listening to? And then it gives you the illusion that like that the audience has something to do with what they play, but what gets played is payola. So it's back to that.
That's a bummer.
Well, that's why you see BCN was one of the best radio stations here because they used to let the labels, they used to let the DJs break bands by playing like the Police. And nobody's playing the Police.
Yeah.
Boom, they play the Police. All of a sudden, the Police is huge. That's what radio stations should be doing, and instead they're just corporate shills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stick to the man. That's awesome. So, I mean, you've been in everything. You've been in music. You did, actually, speaking of, you did a T-shirt for Cypress Hill?
Oh, no. I did a T-shirt for a friend of mine that did a movie, Master DL. He did a movie called, this is me trying to remember. Oh, come on. I can't remember the name of it will come to me, but he just did a movie, and I did shirts for him, and then he gave the shirts to Cypress Hill. But I've already hung out with Cypress Hill years ago.
Oh, wow.
When we played a thing for BCN, and the guitar player that was doing a guitar riff for one of the songs that Cypress Hill wrote, where they actually had live guitar, was my buddy Lee Little Roy from the band Downset from LA. So.
Oh, wow.
Everything's connected.
Do you work a lot with other bands and musicians with your screen printing company?
That's right. I have a silk screen shop in Watertown now.
Okay.
I've been silk screening for a long time. And when I was in Tree, one of the things I learned right away, early, is that the only way a band is going to survive is if they have good merch and that people support them by buying the merch. Because the record labels rip us off, the radio stations won't ever play us, the promoters rip us off. The only way we ever get paid is by creating our own gear. And if you can print it yourself, like which I did, you can save a lot of money and actually make money for the band. And then all the money goes into the account for the band, and nobody else in the band, none of the band members get paid anything.
Oh man.
So we make money. It all goes into practice space, into the van, into equipment stuff that we need, into gasoline.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite, I mean, I'm assuming you've done logos for bands, you've printed on, I saw something that someone was asking you to do a onesie for their kid.
I did a onesie, yep. Yeah. I've done like drum heads, I've done guitar cases, skateboards.
I saw some Patriots logos.
I create my own images, and I play with like already established images and distort them.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
But what I really do is I help people that are in bands like I was, and I hopefully will be again, to survive by having a way of paying their bills. And I also give them good I give people a good deal because I've been there. And if you're an artist and you're a musician, you should come to me and look me up because I'll take care of you. I won't charge you like the other guys.
Yeah.
I'll hook it up.
What's your website is
Sweet Tree Inc.
Sweet Tree Inc. Okay.
And Sweet Tree Inc. at Gmail, and I have a presence on Facebook.
Nice.
And we also have an art gallery show.
Yes, tell us about. You have a bunch of stuff coming up.
I have a bunch of stuff. I started Art Basel Boston last year because I usually go down to the Miami Art Basel, and I worked with this great gallery called Fountain Art Fair, which took over an abandoned building down in the Wynwood district and turned it into a first-class art gallery with like galleries from all around the world and people performing in it. Like G Love played there and
no
stuff.
Way.
G Love's a big supporter of the Fountain Art Fair, and myself too. He's actually bought some work for me.
No kidding, that's awesome. I used to listen to G Love all the time.
I met him at a coffee shop in 1991. You know,
wow.
And I was like in Alston, and I'm like, hey man, what's up? I know you. You're G Love. He's like, my name's, and I'm like, all right, fine. So call you your real name. So
yes.
Anyways, so I worked down there with these guys doing it, and then they lost the building to some a gun store that turned the giant building that they had into a shooting gallery. So I didn't go last year, and then I've been thinking, not just recently, but for years now, why Boston doesn't have some kind of international art fair.
Yeah, they really
So I started
don't.
my own. Yeah, that's right. That's how it works. When you do what I do, it's like you come up with an idea and you bring it into the real world, and then it's real. So I started an international art fair in Boston. It's just my gallery right now, but I do have 40 artists from around the country, and I got 300 pieces of work up on the wall.
That's awesome.
And this is only the second year coming, but I like to talk to the mayor, hopefully, and the art council and the commission people. Let's sit down. I have some really good ideas, and I'd like to make Boston not just cool, but awesome place to live and work, and not leave after you've got your degree, because you can actually make it here, and you don't have to go to New York and LA.
Exactly.
Here in Boston. Right?
The art scene in Boston I've only been in the city for about 6 years, but I've seen it grow so much in those 6 years.
I saw some of your
amazing.
faves, like Adam O'Day and Ryan and Kenji.
They're incredible
It's not like we don't know.
artists.
It's not like we don't all know each other and work together all the time, because we do,
Yeah.
And there's a ton of other artists besides those guys that all work together, and we're all trying to make good things happen here, but we can only do so much.
Yeah.
We can only do so much without the help of it'd be good to have the mayor and the art commission get things going on and help it up.
Absolutely support it.
There's a public theater in Alston down by the river that's just abandoned. A stage is right there, just waiting for bands to come play there every weekend for free, paid for by the city. Sound system right there in Alston. I had a place on Rug Road, right where they store all their sound system.
Yeah.
For 3 years. I saw them barely use that stuff. They have great gear. It's all there, sitting, waiting, doing nothing. I like to put that to use.
This is resources that we got to use, especially if we have them sitting there doing nothing. That's awesome. When's your Art Basel show going on?
Oh, so Art Basel, I did during the same thing as Miami Art Basel, which really comes from Art Basel, Switzerland, right? So I started in December. It ends on the 30th of January. This Saturday, I'm going to have 7 comedians and this wonderful artist, Katie Coriander, who plays in her group Earth Heart. She's going to be playing there too, and she's also got work on the stage. So I'm showing 300 pieces of work. I got music and I got live comedy.
That's awesome.
And nobody else is doing that.
That's all coming up soon.
Well, I had to do something because nobody's doing it. And I like Boston so much, I don't want to move.
Yeah.
I want to make things happen here.
We're lucky.
I want people not just to stay, but I want people to come.
Yeah.
Come here.
Well,
and work here and make awesome, beautiful things happen. Oh, break? Okay. Sorry. We have a break coming up.
We're so lucky to have you on the show. We're so lucky to have you in our city, especially someone like you that, doesn't hesitate, grabs the bull by the horns, and is making all these amazing things happen. Thank you so much for being on the show. And
I want to come back because I want to be able to properly support and promote my appearances.
Absolutely.
And
we'd love to have you back on the show. And before we take a break, you have a show coming up on Saturday, right?
Yes, Saturday. It's called a winter. What am I calling it? A winter's opening.
Yes.
And like I said,
that?
we have 7 comedians doing their comedy, and I'm having Katie Curry doing her live music.
Nice.
And Narragansett is supporting and sponsoring the show.
Awesome.
Which they do a lot. Narragansett and Pabst Blue Ribbon, both those brands have been very supportive, not only for me, but the local art scene here and music scene
they
here in
definitely
Boston.
Have been. I've
so
seen
it
that.
definitely helps a lot. And so it's great to have those guys on board to help out stuff and all the artists involved. And now having you guys there, I just think the more we reach out to each other and network and work with each other,
the better.
And, Boston Streets, I want to talk to them. Let's get some Boston Streets things going on.
Yeah.
There's so many opportunities here. There's no reason why they shouldn't be fulfilled. And I would love to be a part of it, and I'd love to have as many people that want to be a part of it, and we should rock it like that.
For sure. Well, Dave, thank you so much. You are welcome back on the show whenever you'd like. Absolutely. It was a pleasure. Oh, wrong hand. Both hands.
All right. Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere, guys. Oh, you're over there. Don't go anywhere, guys. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll have 2 more wonderful guests. So thank you so much. Thank you, Dave Tree, for being awesome. And stay tuned. We have a great rest of the show. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that very serene break music. So we have two more awesome guests. We have Cynthia Wu here, and we have Don Simmons. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you for coming in last minute. So now Cynthia and Don are part of the BCA. So tell us a little bit about the BCA and what you guys do there.
Sure. So at the BCA, we are the organization that connects artists to the community. We exist to help artists create, perform, and exhibit. We also help to develop audience for those artists, and then we connect them, like I said, back to the community and the community to the artists.
That's you. I mean, you guys expand so much. Little quick side note: Cynthia and I know each other because I actually gallery sit sometimes at the Mills, more often in the past than currently. But I learned so much from the BCA from working there that it has expanded over so much of Boston. I mean, the Boston Ballet is a part of the BCA, the Mills Gallery. I'm at a loss for words, the giant...
The cyclorama.
Cyclorama,
Yes.
that's right. I knew if I made a circle shape, you guys would know which one it was. I mean, tell us about different ways that those buildings and those structures are involved in the community. I mean, I know the ballet obviously speaks for itself, but I mean, for folks who don't know what the cyclorama necessarily is, talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So the cyclorama is our very large event space. It can house anything from a wedding to a corporate function to a giant circus. We have Bread and Puppet coming in I think this month or later next month. This month coming in. And so they're this really great puppet theater troupe that comes in, and they come in every year.
Oh, that's so cool.
So you can go into the cyclorama at any time during the year and you can see anything. You never know what you're going to get in that space.
That's amazing.
It really is.
They have even, I think I've been to like a beer tasting there before, which was really fun.
There are
Great use of the space.
Yeah, lovely
Loved
use
it.
of the space. A lot of beer tastings, wine tastings. We also have our own event, which is a cocktail function called Movers and Shakers.
I've heard of that before.
It's fantastic. We get a lot of these restaurants from the different areas in Boston to come in. They make a bunch of cocktails. People can come in and try out the different cocktails. They pair it with food, and we have different picks. Like we have the audience pick of their favorite, the BCA's pick of its favorite cocktail. It's just a really stellar event.
You should save the date because this year it's on April 15th, which tax
coming
day.
up.
Tax day.
Tax day. So after you do your taxes, you can have some cocktails and food to
Use
celebrate.
some of that tax refund, or if you had to pay out, maybe drink away your sorrows a little bit.
Exactly.
Now, Cynthia, you do a lot with classes at the Mills. I think you and I have worked together a little bit with one, or I was volunteering at one, a lot with kids and families. It's always so great to see our organizations getting involved with families and children. What are some of the favorite classes that you've done, or tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, well, this year we've actually done a lot more adult classes.
Oh, nice.
I mean, they're open for all ages, but people who usually show up are adults. We just actually finished, we did a printmaking kind of workshop this last weekend as part of our Artist Studios building show. Our Artist Studios building, we have about 42 different artists that work there, so in the winter we usually have a show that features them.
Nice.
But some of the upcoming things that we have Artist Talk on March 27th. That goes along with our newest exhibition that's opening January 23rd, actually.
So soon.
Yeah, soon.
soon.
Yeah, so next week.
Okay.
It's called Action Kits. That's a really interesting show. It's curated by a Boston raised artist, Matt Rich. It's an experiential, interactive show where 5 artists from all over the U.S. actually are paired with 5 Boston-based professionals. The Boston professionals answered a couple questions about their jobs and how they work, and there was even a question about if they could visually describe their job, what would it look like? And that is being those questions are being translated into actual artworks, art installations, or what we're calling action kits by the national artists. And so the visitors can come in and actually interact with those action kits.
Oh,
use
that's so
them.
cool.
Yeah. and a cool, not a workshop, but a cool kind of collaboration we're doing with our partner Community Music Center. It's coming up in March 20th, and that's called Reverberation. So musicians are going to interact with the artwork and also play and create compositions based on that artwork as well. So
that's incredible.
Yeah.
Now, is that going to be? Is that going to be at the Mills Gallery?
Yep, all the things related to Action Kits is in the Mills Gallery.
Oh, that's so neat.
Yeah.
So these musicians are going to come in and play. What types of musicians?
There are different types of musicians. Actually, one of the professionals in the show is a music therapist, but she's also going to be one of the musicians in the concert. But we have a pianist, also a saxophone player, or he plays clarinet and saxophone, so I'm not sure which one he's going to have with him. And then this voice artist, and their styles are going to range from pop to blues to jazz to maybe
great.
classical, whatever. Whatever they feel like.
Whatever pairs best with the exhibit or the piece that they're collaborating with, I imagine. The Mills Gallery is such a great gallery. I love the exhibits there. I did the Jordan Eagles exhibit that they had with the Kettle Blood as one of my top 5 favorites for this year. They were amazing. The quilt exhibit that they had, where they did hand stitch these gorgeous black quilts, and they were mimicking tree rings from certain huge memorable times in history, like the fall of the Byzantine Empire or the Black Plague. It was really, really neat. Where do you guys draw your inspiration from for every day, maybe creating classes or maybe putting together exhibits that are going on? Where do you guys find your inspiration?
I think it's really us working together as a team. So Randy Hopkins is our, she picks the curators who pick out a lot of these shows. And so it's working with her and working with them to see kind of what inspires us. But I mean, they're different things. So Cynthia might create a class or a workshop for something with visual arts, but we'll have somebody else who'll do something for dance. And so it's kind of just always bouncing ideas off of each other and figuring out what's gonna work best when.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like there's always something going on with the BCA. How old is the BCA? Like, how long has it been around for?
We just had a very crazy birthday. We're 185.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the cyclorama.
For the cyclorama.
For the
Sorry,
cyclorama.
for the building.
Okay.
For the building.
Not
Yes.
the Boston Center for the Arts itself.
Is roughly 40 years old?
40 plus years.
40
It was
plus
formed
years.
in the 70s.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I imagine it's grown exponentially since it was started in the 70s, or what kind of progress have you guys seen from it in terms of expansion and, I mean, not just gathering more space around you, but in terms of reaching different groups in Boston, different demographics?
We had our biggest, most recent expansion with the building of the Calderwood Pavilion.
Oh no, what's that?
10 years ago. So on our campus, it's several buildings, and right next to the Cyclorama is the Community Music Center, and then right next to that is the Calderwood Pavilion. Most people know it. It's a beautiful blue marquee, very new modern building. With our theater spaces, we also use it for dance. So we've been able to, within the last 10 years, to be able to do that and partner with the Huntington Theater Company has been really outstanding and has expanded, I think, our theater reach and the way that we're able to interact with the dance community as well, exponentially. It's been really cool.
Now, you guys, speaking of dance, what's that exhibit that they have at the Mills sometimes where they come in and dance around the artwork? I think I volunteered for it a couple times.
Well, we do sometimes the dance program in the Mills. Actually, next time we'll have dance in the Mills is at the end of June. So not for a little bit, but for those who are dying to get to dance at the BCA.
It's great. Definitely go.
There is something coming up soon on February 13th and 14th. Our dance residency company, Lane Co. They're actually a New York-based company or a choreographer. They're in residency at the BCA right now, and she did auditions, and she actually hired Boston dancers.
That's awesome.
To work with on this piece that's going to debut or be showcased February 13th and 14th.
Yeah.
So that's a really nice opportunity for the public to see some new dance and new ideas from outside choreographers, but a great opportunity for dancers here in Boston to work with a New York-based or an outside choreographer from out of town.
They're both such great cities. I love when Boston and New York, I know they're sort of classic rivals, but I love when they sort of combine forces because they always make magic happen.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Is there any, now I really love theater, are there any great theater pieces coming up soon, or?
Yeah, we have actually quite a few coming up. Speakeasy Stage Company has just opened a show. We also have another smaller company called Imaginary Beasts, which will be opening a show in just a few weeks. And then Zeitgeist Stage is coming up in February. They've got a show coming up. So we've got a lot of stuff going on in our theater spaces right now, as well as there are tons of other things that are programmed in that Calderwood Pavilion. So there's always something to do. There's always something to check out over there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where can, if people want to get involved with the BCA, or can you become a member, or is it more of a maybe newsletter, or how do you get involved with the BCA? Because you guys are so awesome. You expand all over Boston. You do amazing things.
Thank you. That's really great to hear. There are several ways that you can reach out to us. Our website is bcaonline.org.
Okay.
You can also follow us on Twitter at BCA South End or on Instagram at BCA Online. We keep a very active Facebook page, and if you go to our website, you can sign up for our newsletter. We send out a newsletter, a really big, meaty newsletter at the middle of the month, every month, letting you know all of the things that are going on in our spaces. And then we'll send out other newsletters, smaller pieces from time to time, letting you know about special events and things that are coming up. There's a lot of stuff that also comes up on the fly, and we want to make sure you know what's going on. So we keep you informed.
That's awesome that you guys are always like on top of it, and all these events that are always happen. I feel like it's never a dull moment with the BCA.
It's never a dull moment. We try to keep that space really active, and having everybody there from the community, just knowing that they can come in and experience anything from visual arts to performing arts. It's really cool.
Now, this past fall, I got to volunteer with the South End Open Studios over in that area. Now, I loved it so much. Tell me a little bit about that whole artist living, not living space, but living like workspace area, the artist residencies. How does that work? Because I know it's sort of, they're picked before they're brought in, and they work very closely hand in hand with the BCA. How does that work?
Well, we actually have two sort of pseudo programs. The artist residency program that you're referring to is actually a smaller program that only takes place in one studio.
Gotcha.
3 artists are picked each year. Our last artist resident, Pat Falco, actually just moved out, and we have a spring resident coming in. And then in the summer, the artist resident does a public art piece. So that's a little bit separate, and they do work very closely with the BCA to do workshops and programs for all ages. The building itself, the Artist Studios building, has about 42 workspaces used by artists and about 8 to 10 arts-related nonprofits. So they're, you know, when the studios is open, everybody opens their studio, but it's kind of two separate things.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being on the show. Anything and any shout outs, hey moms, or anyone you want to say hi to, or things you want to mention that maybe I didn't touch upon?
You want to give,
I think,
PlayLab a shout out?
oh, yes. So we have just started, or we're about to kick off our BCA Play Lab, which was formerly the Double X Play Lab. This program is to help nurture writers who are at a certain point in their career, and to sort of take them and push them a little further. So we start with a kickoff on the 18th. It's a collaboration between the BCA and Company One Theater. And again, this is our 4th year, and we're kind of turning things on their head right now, and we're going to do some really great classes and workshops. We've got a really amazing roster of professionals to help lead these workshops, and we have just picked the 6 finalists for these classes, and we are actually contacting them today. So hopefully by the end of
Very exciting.
by the end of the day today, they will have accepted and we'll be able to announce it. So it's a really cool time.
Well, congratulations. Thank you so much, so much for both being on the show. Cynthia, it's always a pleasure to see you. Dawn, it was wonderful to meet you.
Lovely meeting you.
I would love to have you guys back on the show again. Thank you so much for all you do with the BCA, and thank you for coming sharing it with us and educating us all on the wonders of the Boston Center for the Arts.
It was really nice being here.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So we're going to take a quick break, and oh, there you are. And when we come back, we'd say wrap up, say our goodbyes, and so don't go anywhere. We'll have a couple more minutes left. So thanks, everyone. Enjoy this little music segment. Well, hello. That was very quick. So we had some really great guests on the show tonight. We learned a lot about music and different arts and that was going on with Dave Tree, screen printing, and we got to hear a lot about the BCA with Cynthia Wu and Don Simmons. So glad to have them as guests on the show. If you guys weren't able to see the show because maybe you're not in the Boston network or you missed the stream live on the website, you can always check it out. It'll be airing about this time tomorrow on YouTube. Check out our station. It's all about arts and the number 1. You can see a long list of all the episodes that we've done over the past years. Also, we do have an Instagram to follow us at It's All About Arts. Also have an awesome Facebook page, which we've been trying to keep on top of with updating and letting you guys know about artists that are coming up and events that are coming up and everything. So definitely check that out. If you want to learn more about the BNN studios and maybe become part of it, check out our website, BNN-TV.org. Click on Jim Atwood or Janice Williams' name. They will bring you right to the source. So they'll let you know about everything that's going on and help you become a part of it. You can take classes here. It's a pretty great area. It's a pretty great opportunity. So thank you so much for staying with us. Thank you to all of our viewers, and thanks to everyone that helps with all the behind-the-scene magic. So like Glenn likes to say, keep in the forefront of your minds your mothers, fathers, sons, daughters, sisters, brothers, aunts and uncles, everyone on foreign soil. Do something artful and do it for them. Do it for yourself as well. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. Can't wait to have Glenn back, share this giant desk with. So thank you, and hope everyone has a wonderful week. Good night, guys.